The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
Hey, what's happening? What's happening? Hope you had a great weekend. It's Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us. What's up, Robert Kaiser? How are you doing? Robert Webb will be out today, so it'll be just little old me talking to you today about some of the things that went on over the weekend and what we can expect this week. By the way, if you want to call me, you can at 855-525-5683. That's the number. That's how you get in touch with me. You can also hit me up on Facebook. I do stream live. I will advise you to download the Joynet Radio app so that you can get all of the show. Every now and then, Facebook will freak out on you, as it often does, and you miss part of what we're talking about. So the best way to really follow the show is the Joynet Radio app. After all, we are a radio station, if you hadn't figured that out, okay? We don't, I stream Facebook Live as a courtesy, just like I stream YouTube as a courtesy. So what I want you to do, though, is go out and be sure to download the app so you can get everything. But I do post the YouTube link on there. If you do go out to the YouTube page, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe. Now, we're puddling along, but we're trying to get our subscribers up. So if you would do me a favor and go ahead and do that, that would be great. That would help a black man out a little bit, okay, if you don't mind. A couple of things we got on the agenda today. Certainly we'll look back. There was a lot of stuff that went on over the weekend, so we'll certainly look back at the weekend. Posted a lot of stuff on Black Focus Radio, The Wall. Let me remind people, I can't get it out. Let me remind people that you can follow just about everything that I do on my wall, the Black Focus Radio wall. So make sure you go out and check that out. We post a lot of stuff, a lot of information about black people, just things of that nature, black history. I'm big on black history as well, because black history is American history, or America's history is a black history. It's better said that way. American history is black history. Speaking of which, let's do some black facts.
Dynamic Black Facts. Our culture, our history, our people.
Well, over the weekend, quite a bit of stuff was being posted about the great Fannie Lou Hamer, and rightfully so. Her birthday was October 6th, 1917. So why not do a black fact about Fannie Lou Hamer? In recent years, and this is from the Time website, time.com, in recent years, amid increasing white supremacist violence and a disturbing run of mass shootings, thoughts and prayers have been offered again and again. They may well soothe hearts and minds, but activists have also pushed back against the idea that they provide any solution. That same idea was powerfully articulated more than a half a century ago by the late, great Fannie Lou Hamer, a civil rights activist born October 6, 1917. You can pray until you faint, but if you don't get up and try to do something, God is not going to put it in your lap. With characteristic aplomb, Hamer delivered these powerful words at a mass meeting in Indianola, Mississippi in September 1964. Hamer's bold message that each of us has the responsibility to work toward the just and equal society we envision left a lasting impression on those in attendance that evening in Indianola's Negro Black church. The fact that Hamer would tell a room full of religious people that prayer only went so far revealed the depth of her fearless activism. A woman of faith, Hamer believed that God was on her side and favored everyone fighting for the rights and equality of black people. But she also understood that faith alone could not bring an end to racial injustice in this country, and faith alone could not dismantle white supremacy. Hamer's bold message to get up and try to do something was one that all Americans committed to change needed to hear in 1964. Hamer's own experience underscored that point. Born in Montgomery, Mississippi, Hamer worked as a sharecropper for much of her life. It was only in her 40s, while attending a mass meeting at a local church, that she first became aware that black people had been granted voting rights by the United States Constitution. I had never heard until 1962 that black people could register and vote, she explained later. During the early 1960s, she became a civil rights activist, working alongside members of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, an interracial civil rights organization in the Mississippi Delta. She became a SNCC field secretary in 1963 and traveled around the country speaking and registering people to vote. In 1964, Hamer joined forces with other activists in the state to establish the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, which challenged all white Mississippi delegation at the Democratic National Convention. Despite the passage of the 14th and 15th Amendment during the 19th century, only 5% of Mississippi's 450,000 black residents were registered to vote in 1963. Hamer and fellow DP activists set out to ensure greater black representation in the state's Democratic Party. They were also determined to expand voter registration by making black people aware of their rights as citizens of the United States. White supremacists in Mississippi had done everything in their power to block black people from exercising their right to vote, from the creation of poll taxes and literacy tests to rampant acts of violence, terror, and intimidation. When Hamer became aware of her constitutional rights, she was determined to use them, but even more, she wanted to ensure that others would also benefit from this knowledge. During the early 1960s, Hamer volunteered to assist SNCC activists with voter registration, ignoring threats of violence from white supremacists in her community. The only thing they could do to me was kill me, she noted, and it seemed like they'd been trying to do that a little bit at a time ever since I can remember. In a fiery speech at the DNC in Atlantic City on August 22nd, 1964, Hamer recounted the many times white supremacists targeted her life and the lives of those she loved, simply because of her determination to exercise her voting rights. She spoke of the brutal beating she endured at the hands of police officers in 1963 when she and other traveling activists made a stop in Winona, Mississippi, simply to grab a bite to eat. She also painfully recounted the night white supremacists in Ruleville, Mississippi sprayed 16 bullets into the house where she resided with friends, bullet meant especially for her. And yet there Hamer stood, September 1964, at the mass meeting in Indianola, undeterred and committed to the fight for equality as before. She encouraged attendees to exercise their right to vote and not sit idly by in the face of injustice. She understood the challenges ahead and emphasized with fear and even hopelessness many felt that evening and still feel today. The fight for equality seems never ending and the roadblocks are many, but Hamer's words offer much needed guidance, direction, and determination. Faith without action is dead. Faith without action is dead. Those are the words of the great Fannie Lou Hamer. I thought I'd throw that out there today. I think it's appropriate that we understand that we just missed her birthday yesterday. Here's more from Fannie Lou Hamer. I don't want you telling me to go back to Africa unless you're going where you came from. I got a note one day telling me to go back to Africa, and ever since that time, it's been 3 times a week. I say it when I'm in the white audience. I say, we'll make a deal with you. After you send all the Koreans back to Korea, the Chinese back to China, the Jewish people back to Jerusalem, and you give the Indians their land back, and you get on the Mayflower from which you come, we're all here on borrowed land. We have to figure out how we're going to make things right for all the people of this country. That's the great Fannie Lou Hamer. Where's our Fannie Lou's these days? You see, this is what we need here. It's Fannie Lou Hamer. But y'all comfortable. And that's our Black Fact for today.
Keep listening to Black Focus Radio for more dynamic Black facts, our culture, our history, our people on JoyNetRadio.com.
And don't forget, you can sponsor Dynamic Black Facts if you'd like. Call me up at 615-554-0568, and we'll work out an advertising package for you. Also, I want to remind you all that this Friday night we'll be broadcasting live the Little Rock Central football game with Benton, the #1 team in the state. This past Friday night, Central went up to Fort Smith Northside and was able to pull out a win, 42-35. It was a back and forth football game, but the Tigers were victorious. They are now 4-1, and they are 1-1 in the conference. So we hope you'll get out there and support this team. We want a huge crowd, just like we had this past week. They played. Did I not say Bryant? I thought I said Bryant. So we want a huge crowd. They're saying it's going to be a pink out night. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not wearing pink. I'm wearing the black and gold. Okay? Not wearing pink. Don't get mad. I'll be in the black and gold. But you can catch the broadcast right here on JoyNet Radio with me, yours truly. Make sure you download that app. We'll be broadcasting live, and we'll be giving you the play-by-play with myself. So hopefully you'll get out and catch the game. All right. So that's what was going on over the weekend as far as that's concerned. Let's see here. So since we're talking about Fannie Lou Hamer and supporting one another, I have to talk about this story that came across my wall this past weekend. So I hate to read a lot to you, but I want to read it to you, okay? Because I think it's important. Because what's going on here is what ought to be going on in every black community across the country. It doesn't even matter how big your church is, but this is what has to happen if we're going to change the disposition of what's going on in our communities. Here's the title of this story: How One Church in Chicago is Supporting Black Businesses. Let me say that again. How one church in Chicago is supporting black businesses. Let me say it 3 times because, they say when you say it 3 times, it has more impact. Let me do it one more time. How one church in Chicago is supporting black businesses. The Trinity United Methodist Church, located on the south side of Chicago, a congregation of around 10,000. Most associate the church with Jeremiah Wright, Barack Obama's former pastor. During the 2008 election season, Wright was widely criticized for many of his sermons, which promoted black pride and spoke forcefully against injustice. Today, Reverend Otis Moss III serves as Trinity's senior pastor, and this past Sunday, the church made a huge move to support black businesses. As part of its initiatives to highlight black businesses and banking, the church spotlighted True Laundry Detergent and encouraged its 10,000 members to support the company. Directly after Sunday's services, parishioners bought over 200 bottles in less than 3 hours. Did you hear what I just said? Trinity is a very different type of church. The church is committed to the black value system and begins each service by affirming that they are unashamedly black and unapologetically Christian. Only at such a church would you find announcements that literally serve as endorsements for black-owned businesses, which actually happened this past Sunday. But that commitment to the black community is rooted in necessity. Since stats have been recorded, black unemployment have always been twice that of whites. In Chicago, it's more than 3 times. Pastor Moss and leaders at Trinity, understanding this need, have chosen to use their platform to do more than send thoughts and prayers. They are taking action and voting for change with their dollars. After encouraging the congregation to support True Laundry Detergent, parishioners were given the opportunity to make purchase after the 7:30 and 11 a.m. services. Despite having these separate cash registers to process transactions, church members were still forced to wait in line for several minutes to make purchases. In total, 202 bottles were sold this past Sunday in less than 3 hours. Further, the church has invited True Detergent back this Sunday to be spotlighted again. Due to the great success of this past Sunday, the church's Akibi bookstore, in partnership with Afroware Books, will stock True Detergent going forward. Faith congregations have always been important in the black community. From politics to food programs, they have served as critical centers of information and distribution. In today's world, we have severe shortages of black-owned retail spaces. Congregations can bridge the gap between black entrepreneurs and customers. Trinity United Church of Christ is demonstrating the possibility and serves as a fine model of what can happen in black faith communities. We Buy Black salute the impact this congregation is having on the community. Boom. What have I been saying? What have I been saying? Here is a church who decided to spotlight a business owner during their service. And in fact, and then allowed that business owner to sell his product. Oh my God, what would happen if these churches around here did that? What would happen if churches across this country, if black churches across this country, as I've said over and over again, went above and beyond the duty to make sure that they are spending money with black people? I'll tell you what happened. Then black people will then be able to build their businesses. And then they can, what? Hire young black people. And what would happen then? Well, a couple of things will happen. First and foremost, those young black people will have mentors. You know, it's kind of like we do here at Joynet Radio. Many of you all don't know that our intern that interned with us this past summer, Jemiah Ivy, is the producer for the Little Rock Central broadcast. Yes, she sits right here in studio and produces me on air while I'm at Quigley Stadium calling the game. I am her mentor. I'm proud of that. Friday nights where she might be out kicking it like a fat rat, She's here in the studio producing. But more importantly, what that will do is create an economic sensation in our community. What I mean by that is, guess what'll happen? We pay Jemiah, or any other black business will pay that young black teenager. And he will spend that money within the community. More importantly, he might even save some of that money and become frugal and understand what it is to save money. This is what we ought to be doing. This is what churches ought to be doing. Every Sunday, you should be, look, there are a couple of things, just like you read the scripture. Look, they even said in their announcements at this church in Chicago that they have advertising, okay? They have advertising, man. That's crazy. What would happen? Every church, every Sunday ought to have a Black History moment, just like you have the scriptures, and you ought to highlight a black business. Every black church ought to do that every Sunday, and not just highlight a black business. And don't say, oh, if they go to our church. No. If it's a black business, call them up and say, hey, look, we're highlighting black businesses this Sunday. We want you to bring some of your product, and we're going to highlight you, my brother, and we're going to sell your product after service. That's what every black church ought to be doing. And if you're big enough, and there's some of you churches here, not just here in Little Rock, but if you're listening to my voice across this country, some of you all are big enough that y'all have these huge fellowship halls. Why don't you just have a black business weekend? Don't charge any money. Don't say, oh, we're going to charge you $50 for a booth. No, don't do that. You don't need the money. Invite those black businesses in. Pick 10 black businesses to let them come into your business, come into your church, in your fellowship hall, and let them sell their products. Hello? You want to solve this problem? So everybody say, we got these problems, we got these financial problems, and we don't know what to do. Well, hell, if you listen to this show, I give you answers every day. Now, all of them may not be correct, but here's one that'll work. Here, this won't cost you any money whatsoever. It won't hurt you one bit. But what it will do, it will empower your community. And here's the other thing that will, here's the byproduct of that. So some little black kid in your church who may want to be an entrepreneur, who has never seen a black entrepreneur, when this black entrepreneur comes to your church and you highlight him, that little black girl or that little black boy sitting in your pews may say, hey, if that black man can do it and he can start a business, I want to start a business. You know what that does, right? That empowers our community. That's the answer here. Going to the government asking them for handouts, you're not getting jack. They're not going to give you jack. They've never given you jack. You got to do for yourself. That's what Fannie Lou Hamer was talking about. Thoughts and prayers, what? That's not going to help, brothers and sisters. Nothing is going to come to you by hoping it does. We have to be proactive and not reactive. We have to stand for ourselves and our community and our children and our women. And we do that by creating a financial ball of wealth that is unrivaled. $1.2 trillion annually goes into the black community, and less than 2% stays in the black community. We got to solve that problem. And I'm telling you, just like if you go to the church for everything else and you tell me, black ministers, if your church is the answer, then I just gave you an answer. I gave you another answer. If you're wondering about how are you going to keep these young brothers off the street and you praying for an answer, that's your answer. If you wonder how you're going to keep these young girls from selling their bodies so they can get trinkets for their nails and their hair, then that's the answer. This is not rocket science, my brothers and sisters. This is fact. We have, people say, well, we don't have any leaders anymore. We don't have the infrastructure. Well, what are we going to do if we decide to go out on? We have the infrastructure. It's called the black church. Now, the question is, Do we have the leaders of those black churches who really want to see the pain and suffering in our community to be done, to be over? You're not going to fix everybody. But what the Trinity United Church of Christ is doing in Chicago is the answer. If you remember last summer, I read an article where the AME Church has decided to start spending their money at black banks. That's important. Again, more money goes through the black church institution on Sunday than any other black institution in America. And we're not even asking to take some of your tithes and offering. We're simply saying, hey, open up your doors, open up your fellowship halls, open up your minds and start highlighting black businesses. And I guarantee you, it would change your community. Man, I would love to be able to go to St. Mark or St. John, or the Temple Church in Nashville or Mississippi Boulevard and be featured with my product and help people to come by and buy my product. Because see, all I need you to do is buy it one time. All I need you to do is buy it one time. It's going to resell and resell. That's my product. There might be someone else who all they need you to do is buy it one time. And that one buy might create enough capital for them to be able to expand their business even further. Because the number one problem with small businesses in general and black businesses specifically is having capital to expand. I'm a witness. I'm right there myself right now. Needing capital to expand. Banks won't loan you. Banks will only loan you enough money to choke yourself. They won't loan you enough money to do what you need to do. You might go in there and you say, hey, I need $100,000. Well, say, well, brother, we can't give you 100,000, but we can give you 25. And unfortunately, some of us will take that 25, knowing you're going to fail, and then go into debt and foreclosure on the 25,000 that the bank loaned you. Should never take it. But that's what banks, white banks, are doing to black businesses. So the only way that we have to fund our businesses is through you. That's why I tell you all the time, when you see a black entrepreneur out there hustling, trying to make a living, trying to start that dream, you shouldn't be asking him for a discount. You shouldn't be asking her, can you get a hookup? Pay their prices. And the argument of, well, their prices are higher than some of the others, part of the reason that it is because their overheads are higher. If you buy and spend with them, then they can bring those prices down. Or if you buy in bulk, they can bring those prices down. We all have a responsibility in this. As consumers, as entrepreneurs, if we are going to save our communities, then we have to start spending money in our communities. We have to start spending money with black people. We have to start empowering them with your dollars to hire your children, to help keep them off the street. That's really what this boils down to. If you really want to keep them off the street, then you've got to get involved with black entrepreneurship. And whether you want to start a business, you are still a participant because you spend dollars with those black businesses. I'm just telling you, folks, we've got the answer. The answer has been right in our faces for decades. Why are we so afraid to use the answer? Why are black churches so afraid to really save their people? You got the answer? Every Sunday. I'm just curious. I'm going to take a break. And when I come, I got to look up something. I'm wondering how many black churches are there in Arkansas? Or how many black churches are there in Texas or Tennessee or in the state, in the country? Just think if one black church or 10 black churches highlighted a black business every Sunday, allowed that black business to come into their domicile and sell their products. And you all religiously, it's like the black marketplace. Oh man, it just, why don't churches have black marketplaces every Sunday after church? Why don't they do that? Or maybe once every, look, here's what you do. You partner with churches. 4 churches can partner, and every Sunday, a church A, church B, church C, and church D can have a black marketplace. So those vendors can move around. And let me tell you something, brothers, ministers, preachers, don't ask for money. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Well, I'm making my church available so they can sell their products. I ought to be able to get something from this. Oh, really? You are getting something from it. You're empowering your community. Because if you empower your community, that means that there will be more people able to pay their tithes and offering. Because once you empower your community, then there'll be jobs in your community. Hello? This is the answer. I didn't come up with this. I've been saying it, but I got this information from other great scholars of the world, black scholars. This is how we change our community. The black church has always been the anchor in the black community. It has always been the place where black people went for refuge. Why is it that the black church is no longer that? You complain that, hey, we're losing our young people. Well, maybe our young people are not looking at the black church as a means for getting to an end, because the black church is out of touch with what our millennials are doing. Because see, these millennials out here, they doing their thing. What would happen if you started telling millennials that they could come and sell their handmade earrings or their handmade purses, or their dad could come and sell his barbecue sauce? What would happen? Every Sunday after church at St. Mark's Baptist Church in the fellowship hall, or every 4th Sunday, we're having a black business bazaar. If you own a black business, it's first come, first served basis. We'll pack as many people in there as we can. And then I want you to stress to your congregation that next Sunday is the Black Business Bazaar. I want every one of you all to bring some money and spend with those black businesses. And every 4th Sunday, we're going to have the Black Business Bazaar. So you'll know every 4th Sunday at St. Mark, every 3rd Sunday at St. John's, every 2nd Sunday at Liberty Hill, every 1st Sunday at Reverend Black, Greater Paradise, or whatever the case may be. We're going to have a Black Business Bazaar. And you could, look, check this out. You can line it up where it could be at a church every Sunday. So you don't have to bear the burden of that every Sunday. So you can pull up a calendar and examine what churches are available. Call that pastor and say, Pastor, we'd like to have a Black Business Bazaar at your church after your service. This will empower black businesses. Now, again, Pastor, you don't get none of this money. This money is for the black businesses. Do you think there are some black churches that would go for that who weren't getting paid? I'm just wondering. Because you say you want to help the community. This is the way you help the community. Okay? This is how you help the community. because those black business owners, they are struggling just like you are. So you want to charge $10 a booth, right? Yeah, I just need $10. No, bro. You're getting tithes and offering. This is one of the offerings you can give back to the community. I know this sounds far-fetched, and I know what you're saying. Those Negroes ain't going to do that. I know. But maybe somebody who's listening to my voice, maybe a pastor, maybe a parishioner would go to his or her pastor and say, hey, pastor, I have a great idea. I was listening to this show today about Black Focus Radio. If he don't know about Black Focus Radio, you need to tell him about Black Focus Radio. And he might say, well, Black Focus Radio, what is that? Well, you know, that's a show with Dave Coleman on. He's on every day, Monday through Friday. He's talking about black issues. You know, he likes to say our issues, our solutions, our voices. Then you tell him, well, Pastor, this is what he said today. He said, why don't you have a black business bazaar? Why don't you have a black business bazaar and invite 10 business owners who have portable products to sell after service? Well, yeah, that'd be a good idea. We could charge them $50 a booth. No, Pastor. These are small black business owners. We're not going to charge them anything. We're not going to charge them anything. This is to empower the black community. This is to help people start their businesses and get them on the good foot. Now, if that pastor says, well, if we can't charge them anything, then I ain't going to go for it, then just move on to somebody else because he don't get it. He don't get it. Now, I know what you're saying. You say, well, Dave, if the black business is making money, why can't the church make some money? Well, is the church in the business of making money or is the church in the business of saving souls? And right now, what we're trying to do is save some souls through financial empowerment. And we save those souls simply by saying, hey, look, we're going to help your business. When you get on your feet, I need you to hire. So that pastor, once that business get on his feet, then that pastor can go back to him and say, hey, remember you came to my church to one of my black business bazaars. Now you're making good money. I need you to hire some people out of my church. I'm sure that business owner would gladly. Yeah, brother pastor, I remember, yeah, I made good money and I appreciate what you did. I've always wanted to give back. Send a couple of your people over who need a job. I'll be glad to hire them. See how that works? I know that's too simplistic, isn't it? I hate to say it is because I know y'all are thinking, oh, Dave, that'll never work. See, that's the problem. Y'all black folks y'all figuring out how things won't work instead of saying, hey, it could work. See, that's the first thing we do as black people. This is why we can't get anywhere. Because the first thing we do when someone throws out an idea, first thing, oh, man, that'll never work. Man, you crazy, man. Man, that ain't gonna never work. You know how we are. That ain't gonna never work. Well, if you think it'll never work, then guess what? It'll never work. We have to start thinking outside. We have to change our total mindset on how we're going to support our communities. We have to start thinking outside. You all know what I say about thinking outside. Because see, when you think outside, some people say, hey, look, we need to think outside the box. No, I'm not saying think outside the box. Because if I say think outside the box, I'm still in the box, even though I'm thinking outside. The box is nowhere near me. I'm thinking outside, period. Because when I think outside, I realize how vast and how enormous outside is. It goes on for miles, which opens up my mind to all kinds of ideas. That's why I think outside. And that's why I want you to think outside with me. That's why I want you to go to your churches. I want you to go to your pastors. And I want you to say, hey, pastor, I was listening to that crazy nigger on the radio. Yeah, he crazy. Don't get too upset with him because he has some good ideas every now and then. He was telling me about the Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago, how they featured a black-owned business. Just think about it from this perspective, man. He sold 202, I don't know how much his detergent cost, but let's say his detergent cost, $8 a bottle? $10 a bottle. If he sold 200, that was $2,000 of capital that he made that day. And not only that, they're inviting him back the next Sunday. And not only that, now he's created, now you know what those people are going to do at that church? They're going to go and tell their brothers and their sisters and their mamas, hey, you need to buy this detergent. That's how this works. This is how we can fix this problem, folks. Churches, if you want to be relevant again, then start doing things that require relevance. Then people will say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go to that church because that church supports black businesses. I believe in black business, so I'm going to go to that church. And before you know it, all of y'all will be copying. Dude, this is not hard. We can do this right here in Little Rock. All you have to do is have a black business bazaar. Identify 5 to 10 black businesses, and every Sunday let them rotate selling stuff in your fellowship hall. You worried about liability, right? I know. You have them to sign a waiver. It's that simple. Have them to sign a waiver saying, hey, we are liable for any issues or things that come out of me selling this product. We hold the church harmless. That's simple. But imagine how many people you could empower. Imagine how many people's lives you can change. Imagine how many incubating ideas that will begin to pop up. Because I see black businesses all the time, and look, you see them. Look where they are. Anytime there's an event, there they are. So they're struggling. These people that have these booths, they don't have a brick and mortar place. They are struggling. Hey, I'm one of them. I go and sell at events. We'll probably be at the Cornbread Festival. Think of the money that you could bring back to your community. But more importantly, think about the entrepreneurship that you create and the potential business opportunities and job opportunities for your own congregations. Think about that. Brothers and sisters, go tell your minister. Go tell him. Go tell them this has to be done. This is not something that we even need to think about. This is not something that we need to be concerned about. We need to get this done. This is a no-brainer to me. If you want to save your community, then you got to save it. The government's not going to save it. White people are not going to save your community. They'll let it run down, and then when it's run down, they will come in and buy it for pennies on the dollar and then build it back up and make sure your black ass can't move back in the neighborhood you grew up in. If you don't know what that's called gentrification. You've heard the term. I just explained it to you in simple terms. That's what's happening all across this city. That's what's happening all across this state. That's what's happening in city after city and state after state. It's happening. That's because we as the black community have no economic power. Or let me take that back. We have economic power, we just don't utilize it. We don't utilize it as one. And until we do that, we will continually be made a fool of. See, the governor in this state can thumb his nose at all of these black students because you have no economic power. Yeah, you can march, you can complain, but you have no economic power. Until you understand that, black people will never get their just reward. It's about those dollars. If you've ever heard the term lobbyist, the next thing you should come to your mind is money. So what that lobbyist does, if you don't know what that means, let me just quickly tell you. What that lobbyist does, he's paid by XYZ company to go to state legislators across this country to push their widgets. Although their widgets cost more, and that state could probably get the widgets for 25, 30 cents less, that lobbyist is going to make sure that the state buys the most expensive product. It's called money. And where does the lobbyist get the money from? From the ABC Widget Company. Now, that sounds simplistic, doesn't it? It is. We can't even, as Robert has said often, we don't even own our own history. I read an article yesterday over the weekend where Cab Calloway's Baltimore home is about to be torn down. The great Cab Calloway. And black people can't even go in and buy that home. We don't even own our own history, right? Just go across the country and look at the black museums owned by the government. We don't even own our own history. (855-525-5683) is the number. I'm going to take a break. I'm telling you, this will work. Get your pastor on the line right now. Somebody call me. Call your pastor. Right now, call your pastor and say, hey, listen to David Coleman. Listen to this. And then you know what? If you can't get him, go out to Google Play, go out to the Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and download the podcast and send it to your pastor. You wondering why we can't get rid of drugs, gangs, and violence? Because we have no economic power. You want to get rid of drugs, gangs, and violence? Well, let's start utilizing our economic power. $1.2 trillion a year annually, more than the gross national product of Canada, more than the 9th largest nation in the world. That's black economic power. That's what money we spend every year. That's not every 5 years. That's not every 10 years. That's every year. And less than 2% of that money goes into black businesses. If we spend at least 10% of that money, we could create 1 million jobs in our community. What's wrong with us? Why aren't we talking about this? Why aren't our churches talking about this? Why aren't our black leaders talking about this? It's about black empowerment, ladies and gentlemen. That's the only way we're going to solve our own problem. Back in a moment.
Talk to you for a moment. How many people have come up to you and said, hey, I didn't know you had a business? Yeah, that could happen when you don't advertise. I have a solution for you. Advertise on JoinedRadio.com and let the world know that you're in business. I know what you're thinking. Advertising is so expensive. I've got a great package for you that will cut your expense and increase your bottom line. It's only $125 for startup and new businesses. Call me, David W. Coleman, at 615-554-0568, and I'll put together a package specifically for your business. Now is the time to tell the world, hey, I'm in business. Come spend your money on quality goods in my store. Let us help you at JoinedRadio.com. Here's the number. Call me, 615-554-0568. We are here to assist you in building your brand.
Hi, I'm attorney Theodore Thompson from the Thompson Law Firm, and I want to help with your legal matter. Whether it's criminal defense, bankruptcy, personal injury, or family law, I want to help you. I can be reached at 501-503-5095. Don't face your legal issues alone. You need an attorney whose primary objective is to provide you with the best legal representation. Our office address is 415 Norfolk Avenue, Suite 710 in Little Rock. I'm attorney Theodore Thompson, and I want to provide you with the best legal representation.
Who done it? The butler done it. Butler Furniture Depot.
Butler Furniture Depot is your back-to-school headquarters. All college students, fraternities, and sororities get a 2-piece living room set for only $3.99, or take advantage of our 4-piece living room special, which includes sofa, love seat, chair, and ottoman, for only $5.99. Quantities are limited.
Who done it? The butler done it. Butler Furniture Depot.
Or what about an extra thick queen-size mattress mattress, full or queen size for only $298, or an Ashley Signature 4-piece bedroom set for $499, or a 5-piece dinette set for only $199. Huge selections and savings are going on at Butler Furniture Depot, your back-to-school headquarters.
Call 562-8333 for directions. Who done it? The Butler done it.
En Butler Furniture Depot hablamos español.
Who done it? The butler done it. Butler Furniture Depot.
Serving the families of Clark County and the surrounding area since 1966, it's Mitchell Funeral Home. Understanding that a funeral is a celebration of life, the entire staff of Mitchell Funeral Home takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional service they offer. Cremations, funeral plannings, burial policies, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are a few of the services we offer. Mitchell Funeral Home, Arkadelphia, 870-246-2611. Mitchell Funeral Home. Quality you can appreciate, service you can depend on.
All right, welcome back to the show, Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. JoinedRadio.com. I did a little research in the break. Part of the reason I took the break because I wanted to look up something. And this is from Google. And this was posted. This is the closest thing I could find quickly. This was posted in 2002. Okay? In 2002, there was approximately 69,000 black churches in America. I'm saying black churches. Let me give you a specific number. 69,738 black churches in America. It ran the gamut of denominations. AME Zion, CME. There used to be a CME Zion. It's not even on here. National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated. National Baptist Convention of America Unincorporated. The Progressive National Convention. The Church of God in Christ. The National Missionary Baptist Convention. And Full Gospel Baptist Convention. 69,738 churches as of 2002. How many are there now? I just did a quick glance. This survey, let me say that again, 69,738 churches. And you're telling me that none of them damn churches are offering support for black businesses. Think about that. Think about that, man. That's our answer, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not trying to put anybody on Front Street. I'm not trying to call anybody out, but I'm trying to give you answers. I'm trying to get you hip to how we can fix this problem. And the problem is our black churches. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. Not only should they, look, you want to save souls, then you need to teach a man how to eat. You teach them how to eat and they'll flock to your churches. 69,738 black churches in America as of 2002. Let me see if I can find a better date here real quick. I'll look further in the break. But that's unbelievable, folks. That's unbelievable. And you telling me that none of y'all can come together and say, hey, we're going to start a black business bazaar in our community every Sunday, every first Sunday, or every fourth Sunday, or whatever Sunday it is, or every fifth Sunday. That doesn't even happen except, 4 times a year? We're going to have a black business bazaar. Bring your goods and services and let our congregation, let you introduce yourself to the congregation. And during your announcements period, let these business owners who are there worshiping with you for the first time get up and give them 2 minutes to give an elevator pitch about their business. 2 minutes. You know why I said 2 minutes? Because That's what if you have a business, you ought to be able to pitch your business in 2 minutes or less. It's called the elevator pitch. Imagine being on the bottom ground floor of a skyscraper and Michael Dell gets on the elevator with you. Oh, not only Michael Dell, but Bill Gates. The Sharks, they get on the elevator. All them folks on the Shark, and they say, hey, Dave, what's your business? I hear you've got a great business. Well, as a matter of fact, I do. My business is called Coleman's Dynamic Products. My feature product is Rib Rub. You can put it on ribs, chicken, fish, vegetables, baked potatoes, microwave popcorn. It's a all-purpose seasoning. Not only that, I have rib nuts sauteed in my Rib Rub, rib dust, which is a seasoned salt. I have rib batter, which is a fry batter. And I have rib juice, which is a liquid barbecue sauce. If you want more information, here's my card. And more importantly, go out to my website, Coleman'sDynamicProducts.com or RibRub.com, whichever is easier for you to remember. That's my elevator pitch. Now you say, Dave, you've been giving that, you know it because you're right. I've been using that elevator pitch for almost 7 or 8 years now. So why can't black churches allow black businesses in the community to come into your church on any given Sunday and give an elevator pitch to your congregation? Your congregation may not buy, but at least you've opened up that forum for that business to get maybe a new customer. That new customer might be the customer needed to get him or her over the hump. It's not about competing. It's not about saying, I sold more than you. It's simply about empowering. It's empowering your community. Because as I've said to you over and over again, that if you really want to solve the problem in our community, the drugs, the gangs, the violence, the rundown communities, the buildings, then you've got to invest in those communities. Because all black people are doing right now is moving out of those communities and investing in other communities. And then white people are moving back into those. Think about it. Most people here in Little Rock, y'all moving all out in Chenal and Maumelle and all that. Y'all don't even have bus transportation out there. Y'all don't have bus transportation. How you going to get to work? Uber and Lyft is killing you. You know what white people are doing? They're moving back into the city and utilizing the public transportation. Whether it's the scooters or it's the bus or bicycles, because now they can ride to work. They no longer live out in Chenal, which is 10, 12 miles outside of the city center. But y'all dummies are moving out there. Folks, y'all got to wake up, man. You just got to, man. I ain't trying to be disrespectful. I'm trying to empower you. And yeah, I say that because you said, well, you probably said, well, you said that, Dave, because you're a business owner. Yeah, I'm a business owner. I'm a black business owner and a proud black business owner. But I need you to support me, just like I need you to support all those other black businesses. This time next year, I want to be in a building where I can hire some young people. I can't do that if you're not buying my product. And we need black churches to support black businesses. We'll take a break. First hour down, one more to go. It's called Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. Every day, noon to 2 p.m. right here on joynetradio.com. When we come back, we got more news about this Botham Jean thing, man. Why aren't we paying attention? Back in a moment.
Hello to quality time at Marco. Hello to being the game changer, an original. And to those who make it authentic, we say hello with the Founder Select Pizza. Old World pepperoni, sliced Italian sausage, mushrooms, on dough made fresh every day, and a sauce from the original Gianmarco recipe. Hello to an Old World original. Every store, every day, the Italian way. Hello, Primo.
Serving the families of Clark County and the surrounding area since 1966, it's Mitchell Funeral Home. Understanding that a funeral is a celebration of life, the entire staff of Mitchell Funeral Home takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional service they offer. Cremations, funeral plannings, burial policies, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are a few of the services we offer. Mitchell Funeral Home, Arkadelphia, 870-246-2611. Mitchell Funeral Home. Quality you can appreciate, service you can depend on.
Hello, I'm Anthony King with Lighthouse Financial Solutions. We provide you with the best option and approach to improve your credit scores. We help you eradicate all those bad debts and deal. And also, did you know every team requires a credit check? Stop by and visit us at 6701 West 12th Street, Suite 9 in Little Rock, or come visit us on our web at lighthousefinancialsolution.org, or give us a call at 501-916-9288. This is the year of your release. Come visit us and help you raise your credit scores.
I'm so glad I found the Kick Above. It's like my very own personal training studio. A Kick Above removed the guesswork and intimidation and offered me a very supportive and structured environment specific to my personal goals. Kim Leverett and her certified personal trainers even offered nutritional guidelines for my personal workout. It's about me at A Kick Above. Call 501-868-8850 or go to akickabove.com. Now, what am I wearing tonight? Thanks to A Kick Above, I look marvelous.
Hi, this is Alvin from Habibi's 4317 East Broadway in North Little Rock. We still have the green top at your very next stop. The same great service, but more of it. Give us a call, 501-663-1553 or 664-2992, or call our toll-free number, 1-877-HABIBI-1. Diapers, pull-ups, hospital beds, wheelchairs, Simply Fit, diabetic supplies, underpads, and more. Your durable medical supply center.
Hell to the old gold, hell to the black. The Little Rock Central High football Tigers are back. Head football coach Kent Lester leads the Tigers into a promising 2019 football season. Catch all of the great home game action. Join the Tigers for home games against West Memphis, Rogers Heritage, North Little Rock, Bryant, Cabot, and Fort Smith Southside. Former Tiger player David W. Coleman brings you all of the exciting play-by-play analysis. Hell to the old gold, hell to the black. The Little Rock Central High football Tigers are back right here on JoyNetRadio.com.
You got it. East Little Rock's answer to your aggravation. Joy Network.
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
All right, welcome back to the second hour of the show. Robert Webb is out today. David Coleman is in the house. You know what it's called. We call it Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. If you'd like to call and talk to me, you certainly can. The number is 615-554-0568. I always like talking to my listeners. So if you want to call me, I'll be glad to talk to you. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this hour. Didn't mean to spend so much time last hour on that particular issue, but you know what, now that I think about it, yes, I did. We need to talk about this every day. We need to find out why black churches haven't had an epiphany on how they can save their community. You've done everything else, that ain't working. You done prayed, you done marched, you done poured out water, you done did everything. And your community is still suffering. Did you ever think that part of the reason that my community is suffering is because of financial deprivation? And how can we get money in this community? Oh, go to the government and ask for grants? Yeah, that's part of it, but that's not going to solve the problem. What's going to solve the problem is you encouraging your parishioners to go and spend money at black businesses. I'm not saying don't spend money at white businesses, but I'm saying if you can spend your money at black businesses, you ought to do that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. No one can save us, from us, for us, but us. It's time for us to wake up. It's time for the people who call themselves leaders to wake up and start leading your people. And then if you don't want to lead your people, then you need to get the hell out of the way so someone else can lead them. Because what you're doing right now is leading every one of them to hell. I'm being real. Been thinking about this all weekend long. And then this story pops up about the church in Chicago that brought a business on the end. And in one day, in a few hours, this man sold $200, 200 units of product after church service. Why aren't black churches across this country doing that? That's my question. 855-525-5683 is the number. Every one of you ought to be doing it. Every one of you. And no, you shouldn't be saying, hey, well, I'm going to charge $10 a booth, $50 a booth. No, brother, this is for the community. Do you charge $50 for a prayer? Or a holy sacrament? Come on, man. 855-525-5683 is the number. Let me get off of that for a moment. I might come back around to that. Also today, I want to talk a little about over the weekend. If you haven't heard, Joshua Brown was killed unexpectedly. Now, you may not know the name Joshua Brown, but you will after I read this story to you. The Dallas man, he was murdered shortly after providing key testimony in the killer cop Amber Guyger trial. So Joshua Brown was a black man. He was 28 who disputed what Amber Guyger said. He was killed last Friday night, shot multiple times. Is that coincidence? As I said to y'all black folks, are y'all awake yet? Y'all walking around talking about you woke and they killing our people riding out. Look, the same thing happened in Ferguson when all of those black activists started coming up missing. Nobody said a damn word about it, not even the news media, nobody. So here it is, this guy has testified against Amber Guyger, and just a day or so later, he's shot dead? Come on, man, come on, dude. Are you telling me that's just coincidence? Now, I'm not one to push conspiracy theories or anything like that. But man, that's just too damn common. The same thing happened in Ferguson. The exact same thing. Many of those activists that led the Black Lives Matter marches in Ferguson are now dead. And no one's paying attention to it. And now here we go again. This young man got on the stand and said, disputed what Amber Guyger said, and now he's killed? Really? That doesn't concern any of you all? Well, let me tell you somebody it does concern. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is a Democratic representative from New York. She took to Twitter on Sunday to call for authorities to get to the bottom of Joshua Brown's murder, days after the key witness in the murder trial, a former Dallas police officer, Amber Guyger, was shot to death. Now, here's the thing here. He was going to be the number one witness against Amber Guyger in the wrongful death suit. Hello, you get that, right? Lee Merritt, who was the lead attorney for the Botham Jean family, said that Joshua Brown was going to be the lead witness in the wrongful death suit. And he shot to death on Friday. Hello? Here's what Alexander Ocasio-Cortez says. Just when we caught a glimpse of justice for Botham Jean, much of it feels stolen back with the murder of Joshua Brown, a key witness in the case. My heart breaks for his family and everyone touched by this tragedy. We must get to the bottom of this injustice. Is that coincidental? I don't know. But it sure as hell seems peculiar to me. Here's what Kamala Harris said. Joshua Brown's selflessness and courage brought some justice to his neighbor, Botham Jean. We grieve again learning of Joshua's murder. I pray for his family, his community, and all those impacted by the tragedy. Julian Castro, Joshua Brown, bravely stood up to injustice and helped put Amber Geiger behind bars. 3 days later, he was murdered by an unknown assailant. We grieve with his family and friends and demand a transparent investigation the people of Dallas can trust. Man, this is peculiar. This is peculiar. Lee Merritt, an attorney who represented the Jean family in the case, said in a Facebook post that he learned from the medical examiner that Joshua was shot in his mouth and chest. Whoa. Whoa. Y'all get that, right? Now again, I don't know nothing from nothing. But here's what I do know, that typically in the streets, if you run your mouth and they come for you, the first thing they do is shoot you in the mouth or cut your tongue out or do some damage to your mouth to indicate that you shouldn't have ran your mouth. Somebody did this to Joshua Brown. I don't think this was coincidence. According to Merritt, he was ambushed at his apartment complex as he got out of his car and shot at close range. Brown's mother asked that I do whatever it takes to get to the bottom of the murder. She suspects foul play and it's difficult to rule it out. He had no known enemies. He worked for a living. He was not in the streets. We need answers immediately, said Merritt. Hello? Are y'all paying attention? You see, remember last hour I was talking about that economic empowerment? You know, if we had economic power in our communities, then this murder wouldn't go unsolved. In fact, I would argue that this murder wouldn't even happen. I don't know nothing from nothing, but it sure as hell doesn't sound like a random killing. Did they take his wallet? Did they take his car? No. They shot him in the mouth and in the chest. The mouth is significant. And if they didn't take his wallet, if they didn't take his vehicle, he was shot getting out of his car at his apartment. You all get this, right? But y'all woke. I'm so sick of y'all saying that crap. You ain't woke, you're sleepwalking. You continually letting this stuff happen to our community, and you do nothing about it. Crips and Bloods who call themselves down, killing one another. And our people right now are being haunted. More from the Botham Jean case. The young lady who filmed shooting of Botham Jean fired from the job in retaliation. The unjustified shooting of Botham Jean. The witness has been identified as Bunny and has stated that she recorded Geiger on her cell phone after hearing the fatal shots and Botham asking Geiger, "Why did you shoot me?" That video was seized by prosecutors and has not been seen by the public. In addition, She was placed under a gag order by the prosecution and cannot discuss the details of the video in public. Despite the fact she was only a witness to the shooting, she has received death threats, and now she says she has been fired from her job. According to her, people began contacting the pharmaceutical company where she worked, claiming she was a radical, anti-police, and black extremist. As a result, she claims the company did not want the publicity and fired her, as well as revoking the credentials of her profession. Y'all woke? Y'all see what's happening here, right? Again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I know there are things that happen that look awful peculiar to me. They tell me there are not aliens at Area 51, but they haven't proven to me that there are not aliens there. Hello? They tell me that there was a conspiracy, there wasn't a conspiracy to kill Dr. King. But then I read the FBI versus Martin Luther King Jr. Hello? Now we can sit around and continue to let this happen. Or we can economically empower ourselves to stop it. It ain't gonna happen overnight. But those who are in leadership positions have got to stand up and be counted. Those who believe in truth and justice and the American way has got to ruffle some feathers. No, it's not gonna be easy. No, it's not easy. Freedom, the fight for freedom has never been easy. But millions have fought right on. Despite the hardships, without the pain, despite the struggle. It's time for us to get in this fight. It's time for you to get in this fight. Make it personal. It's time for you to get in this fight for justice for black people. It's long overdue. It's not going to come by osmosis. It's not going to come by the goodwill of the American citizens, because if it was, we would already have it. If there was any goodwill for black people in America, then in 1865 at the Emancipation Proclamation, the Freedmen's Bureau, the black codes would have never existed. Jim Crow would never have existed. Redlining would never exist. But it does. America has shown us that there is no goodwill on her part. It's time for black people to get in this fight. It's time for black people to get angry. I know what you're saying. Well, I got to pray about it. Well, I want you to go and pray about it, and then I want you to get angry. Aren't you tired of this? So they go and kill off Joshua Brown. Aren't you tired of this? Aren't you tired of young black men being slaughtered in the streets? Aren't you tired of it? Some of y'all are blaming those young black men. No, these are economic battles. These are my turf. Aren't y'all tired of this? I certainly am. I've had enough. I'm ready to fight back. When are you going to be ready to fight back? When are you going to be willing to stand up and say, I don't want my child dying in the street. I don't want my child being kidnapped by the streets. Someone sent this meme to me last week. It says, I will kidnap you, raise you, then return you to your family so they can bury you. Who said that? Let me say it again. I will kidnap you, raise you, then return you to your family so they can bury you. Who said that? This is what you ought to be talking to your young people about. I'm going to repost this meme and send it back to the top of my top of Black Focus Radio page. Going to repost it. You know who said that? The streets. Yet we're so ready to send our kids out into the street to hustle and make a living, only to be planning their future funerals because we won't spend money with black folks. We've got our black children thinking that a bad hustle is just as good as a good hustle, long as I get mine. Not understanding that at some point in your life, that bad hustle is going to catch up with you in the form of death or jail or both. It's time to stand up, ladies and gentlemen. Economic empowerment is the way to go. 855-525-5683 is the number. That Joshua Brown killing bothers me, man. As I think back to all of those activists that were killed in Ferguson. Just some of them came up dead. I think one of them had a car crash. They said the brakes were bad. Really? We're really stupid. We are really stupid. Oh, wow. Okay. Couple other things I want to talk about. We almost had a Botham Jean issue here in Little Rock over the weekend, according to Russ Raycop. Apparently, somewhere in his neighborhood, someone decided, or the police decided, that they would show up at a man's house unannounced in the middle of the night. And let me see if I can find this this article. But they would show up in the middle of the night at a man's house and the man and his wife heard the noise in their backyard and realized that there was somebody which he thought was trying to break into his house. The man confronted the police and they started yelling and screaming. Let me just read what Russ Raycop wrote. Approximately 1:30 a.m. this morning, that was Sunday morning, LRPD officers were attempting to covertly enter a home, perhaps one of those no-knock raids, when innocent homeowners heard noises and saw flashlights in the backyard. The man of the house went to see what was going on, and when he went out the back door to confront what he thought was a prowler, he was greeted by guns pointed at him and yelling officers. Both the man and his girlfriend were handcuffed and were not told why they were being treated that way. Turns out LRPD was at, get this, turns out LRPD was at the wrong address. What if the guy would have had a gun to protect himself? They were at the wrong address. You see, I've told you the story about the man in Nashville when I was living in Nashville. And he was sitting in his house in a bad part of Nashville, and he happened to have his shotgun beside his bed, beside his lazy boy chair. And the police broke into his house, broke his door down on a no-knock raid. The man thought he was being burglarized. He reaches for his shotgun, and they shoot and kill him dead. Nobody went to jail. Not one damn cop. See, this happens more than you think it happens. Remember Aiyana Jones, the little girl who was killed by the machine gun of a cop who was there to serve a warrant for this lady's son, and he didn't live there? And Aiyana Jones was killed because the cop claims that the grandmother hit the gun and the gun went off. This happens more than you know, ladies and gentlemen. So right here in Little Rock this past weekend, we had an issue with the police. Now, here's a problem I have with this situation and the same situation in Nashville. The police had a warrant for the invasion of the house in Nashville. I'm hoping that they had one in this, but you know, here in Little Rock, we've been having problems with no-knock warrants. On the warrant that they had in Nashville, they had the correct address. And they still ended up going into the wrong house and killing an innocent man. Now, the question I have is, did they have the right address this weekend in Little Rock? Because if they didn't, every one of those guys on that team they need a new team. Because are you telling me that those people that we're paying big money to be police, they can't even read an address warrant? A warrant on an address? An address on a warrant, I should say? Are you telling me that? Am I supposed to believe that you had the correct? Apparently you didn't. You went to the wrong damn house. Are you telling me that you can't read addresses on warrants? Oh, wait a minute. I can't say that you got bad info from an informant because we know that you at the wrong house. See, in Roderick Talley's case, an informant lied to you and y'all blew his door off. But in this particular case, according to the reports, we know that you went to the wrong house. And maybe you can laugh it off and say, oh, well, we scared the devil out of him, yeah. No, you can't. No, you can't. Somebody needs to be fired. Somebody needs to go back over their practices and make sure that you're doing the right thing. You are putting citizens at peril. And I'm beginning to wonder if y'all even care. I don't know that you do. Because, see, these things should not be happening. They should not be repeating themselves as often as they are. When something egregious happens in another country, in another city, police chiefs around the country ought to be saying, all right, let's review our standards here. Let's make sure that this doesn't happen. So Russ wrote Chief Humphrey. And, I've told you, I like Chief Humphrey. Russ asked Chief Humphrey. Chief Humphrey responded to Russ and said, hey, Russ, would you wait until we get all the facts first? Allow Chief Full to talk to her staff. The media doesn't wait till you get all the information. If you do something, they go ahead and put the information out. Y'all went to the wrong house. You could have killed a man and his girlfriend. This is not something that you smile about. This is serious. The police doesn't seem to think it's serious. You've got citizens scared to death of you. I'm pretty sure this is not what you intended. But then again, maybe you did. Maybe you want to put the fear of God into the citizens. But see, here's the thing. A lot of us understand the Constitution. A lot of us are not going to let you put the fear of God in us. A lot of us, we're going to stand on the Constitution. That's the only thing we can stand on. That's right, Robert. Robert, what facts? There are no facts here. Y'all were at the wrong house. Y'all were at the wrong house, and a man could have been killed. We just had a trial. And see, this has happened before. Mr. Ellison was in his house. He was in his house when two cops walked into his house because the front door was open, and Mr. Ellison ended up dead. You all understand that, right? I'm sorry, but police have created an atmosphere where we can't trust you. It's not that we want to be that way. You all created that atmosphere, not us. You all wanted to be able to kick ass and take names later. And now that people don't trust you, now you want to get all up in your feelings. This is you, police departments in America. This is not black people. This is not American citizens. This is you. I can tell you how to fix it. Own up to your mistakes. Start firing these bums who call themselves police officers who are manipulating the public, who are lying on police reports. If you lie on a police report, you'll lie in court. You're probably on the Brady list that are being compiled all around this country. Police officers who can't testify because their word can't be trusted. We got to do something about this, folks. Don't sit around and think that you're helpless. You can do something about this. All you got to do is stand up. And throw out those leaders who call themselves leaders. Because they're not. Because they're not. 855-525-5683. I saw this story over the weekend and I had to read it for myself. University of Kansas apologizes after Snoop show that wasn't what they ordered. Now let me ask you something. Is Snoop Dogg does Snoop Dogg have a gospel song? He does. In fact, we play it on this station. I'm sorry that we do. I don't program the music, but Snoop Dogg has no business playing singing gospel. I know what some of you holier than thou folks said. Oh, Snoop Dogg done found religion. Oh, pray for him. Oh, let's bring him into the fold. Just like Kanye, right? I've told y'all over and over again that these rappers are charlatans. Many of your kids are in jail because of rappers. Many of your daughters are pregnant because of rappers. Many of your children are hooked on drugs and alcohol because of rappers. Snoop Dogg ain't turned over no new leaf. Okay? Snoop Dogg is just as ratchet as he was when he first came on the scene. And now the University of Kansas, because of Midnight Madness, and those of you who don't know what Midnight Madness is, that's when basketball teams around the country they are legally able to begin their first practice. So they make it a thing to that Friday night or Saturday night at midnight. They have a midnight practice, and everybody goes. It's thousands of people across the country. So the University of Kansas decided to soup theirs up a little bit and invite Snoop Dogg to their Midnight Madness practice. And what they didn't know is Snoop Dogg rolled in poles, strippers, and fake money. And while Snoop Dogg was doing his thing, in the middle, I'm laughing too, Robert. While Snoop Dogg was up there spitting his rhymes, he had fake money falling from the ceilings and stripper poles and women on triple poles. While Lil Johnny and Lil Sally was sitting in the audience cheering for the Jayhawks. I done told y'all a damn fool. These guys ain't reformed. That's all they know. That's their hustle. What is Snoop Dogg gonna come and sing? Well, what is he gonna sing? Amazing Grace? Snoop Dogg made a gospel song to make money. That's the same thing Kanye West is doing. Kanye West, I heard, got a church now. He was talking about how the Republicans save black people at his church last a piece I saw the other day. Y'all need to stop following these rappers. Killer Mike. Jay-Z. Look, just because someone has money does not mean they got common sense. See your president. Right now, we don't even know if he's got money. We just found out that he has to turn over 8 years of his tax returns. It's going to be great to watch him on Twitter today. You're exactly right, Robert. To them, it's all about money. It is. They don't care about morals. If they cared about morals, they wouldn't be singing about misogyny in their music. If they cared about morals, they wouldn't be singing about getting high on lean. You know what lean is, right? If they cared about money, they wouldn't be encouraging your children to pop Molly's. You know what Molly's is? Molly's is a concoction of multiple types of drugs. That's an appeal that they don't even know the potency of it. These are the people that you're allowing your children to be led in the entertainment industry as well as commercial. Look, I saw Lil Wayne doing a commercial over the weekend for one of the Call of Duty? That's not cool. I don't admire Lil Wayne. Is this the guy you want to be a role model for your children? But because they got a hit song and they're a rapper, it's okay now, right? Man, we are lost, dude. We crazy. If one of these guys walked up to you and called you a B or an H, you'd be upset. But they talk about your daughters and their music like that. And some of y'all bumping the music just along with your kids. No message in your music, just wanton sex, violence, and drugs. That's the majority of this rap music. I know y'all probably saying all day, you a fuddy-duddy, you old, you don't understand. Yeah, I understand. I understand the power of media, and I understand the power of music, and I understand how it can mold the consciousness. And what it has done is it's dulled the senses of our black people, of our black boys. All of them want to be a rapper, and all they rap about is sex, drugs, and violence. I'm just saying. 855-525-56. Kansas, you get what you get. I'm laughing at you, you dummy. I'm laughing at you. There is no excuse. There is no excuse, Kansas. If I invite Snoop Dogg to perform at my event, don't I know that Snoop Dogg's gonna act a damn fool? Don't I know that there's gonna be some profanity, there's gonna be some misogyny, there's gonna be some race baiting, the N-word, the B and whole word, all of that. Don't I know that? Who was the genius who decided to invite Snoop Dogg to a family event? These people keep their kids up. Hey, we're going to Midnight Madness tonight, so you need to get some sleep. This was a family event. Who was the genius who decided to invite Snoop Dogg to a family event? I want to know who was the genius who decided that Snoop Dogg could do gospel. I want to know that. Every time I hear that song, I just turn it off. Dude, you can't sing to me about no gospel. No. Well, Brother Coleman, everybody changed. Well, I know Snoop Dogg hadn't changed. And if you thought he had, this was evidence that he hasn't. So this point on, stop playing Snoop Dogg's gospel song. Come on. He didn't do that. Look, you're seeing a lot of these rappers not only are they trying to cross over the white folks, now they trying to cross over in the gospel. That ain't nothing but a money-making ploy. God, how gullible are we? I tell people all the time, man, if you really want to get a good woman, you can be the worst dog in America. All you got to do is go to church and start spouting Bible verses. Then women will fall all over you. How gullible are we? You care about he's saved and washed in the blood. Yeah, he sure is. Trying to save himself and wash all that blood off of him. Come on, man. We got to be better than this. I actually had a good weekend this weekend. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. I was like, they mad today. I ain't mad. I'm just tired of the okie doke, man. Are we tired of this stuff? White people pulling the okie doke on us. Our own people pulling the okie doke on us. When we gonna get hip? Come on, man. Woo, Lord have mercy. 855-525-5683. Okay, so mother charged with accused of rubbing heroin on her baby's gums, only charged with a misdemeanor. Do I need to say it? Do I need to say it? I'm just saying. Let me be quiet. Let me see what else I got here. 855-525-5683. Oh. I'm sorry. I'm just laughing. Oh, by the way, Little Rock Hotel, let's see. Suit says Little Rock Hotel ignored sex trafficking. I'm sure Rozelle will talk about that a little bit tomorrow as well. Are you one of those people that are taking a lot of prescription medication? A new study says that many cases of dementia are actually side effects from prescription drugs. Hello? Okay, I'm not going to talk about Kanye anymore. Congratulations to TJ Pennington, 10 catches, 145 yards. A TD. Congratulations, young brother, for the Little Rock Central Tigers. As I mentioned, Donald Trump, Snoop Dogg, though. Yeah, right? See, Robin, get me out. See, I don't want to talk about that anymore, man. I mean, I'm sorry though, man. When I saw that, I was like, did they really invite Snoop Dogg to perform at Midnight Man? And you know he was probably drunk. He was probably high. Hell, he probably had just woken up. It was what? The thing was at midnight, so he probably woke up like at 11:45. Yo, man, I can go do this thing, for shizzle, my nizzle. Come on, man. Are y'all serious? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What the hell is wrong with this world? Can someone help a black man? Can someone please tell me what has gone wrong with this world? I know it wasn't in the best of shape, but at some point, don't you have to say, hey, it's kind of like being driving down the street and your car runs in the ditch and you got to yank it back the other way to get it out of the ditch. It's time to yank this country back the other way because it's in the ditch. The Republicans have ran this thing in the ditch. Y'all have allowed them to run it in the ditch. It's time to yank it back out. It's crazy. What'd you think Snoop Dogg was gonna do? Come in there and sing the Jayhawk war chant? What you think any rapper gonna do if you invite him to sing? Huh? They don't make clean music. Come on, man. Y'all are crazy. Straight up loony. I don't care if you do get mad at me. Just simply don't care. And before I go, I want to touch on this story. This is a story that was sent to me by Cliff May. And this is out of Russellville. Now, apparently what happened, there was this black autistic kid. He's mixed. His name is Kamari. An Arkansas teacher returned to the classroom this week following a brief administration leave for spanking an autistic child in class. Now the boy's mother is frustrated and demanding further action against the handsy teacher. Tashina Roper said her 5-year-old son, Kamari, was on the receiving end of a whipping from Celia Wortham, his kindergarten teacher at Dwight Elementary in Russellville. Several staff members reported hearing Wortham call Kamari a bad boy, a reprimand that was followed by a hit and audible crying, according to the police report. How dare you? That's my child, not yours, Roper told a local station. If you cannot control yourself in an environment, then you don't need to be teaching. Wortham admitted to hitting the tot, telling the school principal she resorted to corporal punishment because she didn't know what else to do. She was immediately placed on leave. Roper said when she enrolled her son at the school, administrators placed him in an integrated classroom not exclusive to children with special needs and promised the staff would follow his educational plan. That promise fell flat, however. The school district, the teacher herself, who sat in our IEP meeting, assured us they could handle him, that they could make this work, that they would have accommodations for him. And I feel like they lied on every turn. They broke my trust as well. As reported on KARK, corporal punishment is allowed in the district. However, a newly approved state law protects intellectually disadvantaged students from being spanked at school. Also, recent studies have shown that African American students are punished more harshly. Roper says she no longer trusts the school system and that the ordeal has left her afraid for her son. I'm afraid to send my son to school. I don't know who else is going to do what else to him. The Russellville Police Department is investigating the case. So far, no charges have been filed. The Russellville School District didn't return request for comment. Well, first of all, if you sat in that meeting, Miss, let me get her name right. If she sat in that meeting, her name is Miss Wortham, she knew this child was special needs. Okay? You know, this is tantamount to the police tasering. I posted an article the other day where the police tased a special needs guy. There was a mother who came out with a badge or a shirt or a sticker or something that said it identifies children with special needs who don't like to be touched, and they wear it. But this particular teacher, Miss Wortham, Celia Wortham, knew that this child was special needs. So it wasn't like she didn't know. So if she didn't know what to do, how about calling the parent? I know someone that's very close to me that deals with special needs children. See, what they've tried to do is integrate special needs children into the regular classroom, which is, I think, is a great idea. You shouldn't be sending them to different classes. You shouldn't be sending them to different schools. Because see, what this does by integrating them, it allows other students of normal capacities to understand what that child that has a special need is going through. And it allows them to become more compassionate. It's a great idea, but if the teacher is not being compassionate, then what good does it do? Now, you knew this child was a special needs child. You knew it. It wasn't like this was a surprise. What made you think that you could spank an autistic kid? What made you? You don't deserve to be teaching, lady. Are y'all that hard up for teachers in Russellville that you will beat up? You'll beat on autistic children? Children with special needs? Are you that anal? And is the Russellville School Board so anal that they can't see the atrocity that was occurred? This young boy could be scarred for the rest of his life. He may not understand spanking. And in this day and time, people don't spank their children anyway. But more importantly, why would you spank a special needs kid? That does nothing. And you a teacher? I don't blame Miss Roper. I'd be concerned about my child as well in this school. Now, according to the report, the city of Russellville allows spanking. Well, let me tell you something. You're not spanking my child. Sorry. It ain't trying that he or she is special. You don't have the permission to spank my child. And I think parents can sign a waiver saying, hey, no, you can't spank my child. You can send him out of class, but don't put your hands on him. I'm going to do that. And I rarely spanked my children growing up. When my son and I was talking one day, and I was trying to remember, when was the last time I spanked? Dad, I don't remember you ever spanking. I spanked him, but I don't remember. No. In this day and time, if you're a good parent, you don't have to spank your children. You take their toys. I'm going to tell you, taking their toys, like their cell phones, all those rich, expensive toys that y'all buy your kids now, all you got to do is take their computer. Move the computer into the great room of your house or your apartment. So the only time they can be on the computer is when you are in that room. They'll straighten up real fast. Take their cell phone. Take their PlayStation 4. They'll straighten up real fast. Take that Xbox, and right, Robert, they'll straighten up real fast. Take that allowance. Remember the story I told y'all about last week of the young man, the black mother who has a black son, who she's giving him $1,000 a month. Just giving it to him. She's a damn fool. He won't work. You create these little monsters and then you send them to school and expect teachers to handle them. You don't have to spank them. Yeah, Robert, she giving her son $1,000 a month. It's pathetic. He doesn't work. He has to have all designer clothes. Y'all have created these monsters. And then you send them to school and expect teachers to handle them. Now, in this particular case, this kid was autistic. He doesn't deserve to be spanked. But there are a lot of kids who could use a good butt whooping. A little tanning of the tail. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm a tan your tail. Y'all grew up in my era. You know exactly what that means. You know about the long march to the switch bush, right? That long march to the switch bush, and then you outside and you get that call from inside. It's your mama saying, "Boy, don't have me to come out there. If I come out there and get that switch, it's gonna be worse." And you go out there and get that switch, and you kind of try to get one that'll break real fast. So you're out there testing it to see how strong it is. Some of your children need a beating. Some of you parents need a beating. My goodness. How you gonna spank an autistic kid? You need a beating, Miss Wortham. Do you spank your children? And in this day and time, you don't spank at all anymore. People look at you like, "Oh, you can't believe you hit that child." 855-525-5683 is the number. Well, don't call me now. Appreciate everybody joining the show today. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you spread the word about Black Focus Radio. Tomorrow at 11, don't forget The Power of Justice with Rizal Aaron. We'll be back at noon, from noon to 2 p.m. on Black Focus Radio as well. I'm just saying, folks. I just read that story. This is a sad, sad story. Spanking an autistic child. Man, I tell you what. I wish more would. I just wish you would, my brothers and sisters. I'm telling you. I'm going to leave you with this quote. I read it earlier. Who said this? "I will kidnap you, raise you, then return you to your family so they can bury you." Who said that? You know who said it, because it has affected us all. The streets. You need to remind your children that hanging out in the streets will do nothing but end up bad. We're out of here. Y'all have a great day.
You've been listening to Black Focus, where we discuss our issues with our solutions and our voices. Join us every weekday afternoon at 1 p.m. on JoinetRadio.com.